The debate is long over. Climate change is real. My God.
And look at this. It is block after block here.
This is a very, very major crisis.
This is one of the worst situations that we have ever seen.
We know climate change is making the kind of hot, dry weather California has experienced in recent months more likely. And scientists say that is increasing the number of what are known as fire weather days.
Approximately 6 months is the normal seasonal drought for this region, but we are now looking at about 8 months since we've had any meaningful rain down here.
The winter rains that normally reduce the fire risk in California didn't come.
And now you have entire communities that are this dry, so the fire has to do very little work.
I just don't want any parent or grandparent to have to be in a position where 20 or 30 years ago, little ones or your kids are asking you, didn't you know what was going on? Didn't you know what climate change was doing? Why didn't you do something about it when you knew about it?
The parched grounds in densely populated areas, a recipe for disaster.
Just look out the window at what's going on.
Unfortunately, we're seeing climate change in action. We're seeing worldwide lengthening fire seasons.
Conditions are expected to get worse.
Yeah, unfortunately, the future looks like a future with more fire than the environment that we have now. And underlying that is basically that warming and drying signal.
If we do not get our act together, what we are seeing now will only get worse.
I hope in the future we can find a way to maybe even better prepare or to prevent this from ever happening again.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and gender non-conforming individuals to another episode of the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your host, Benjamin Dixon. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to ask a question at the beginning of the show that I will debate with artificial intelligence. For your consideration, are billionaires a threat to the United States of America? Are they a threat to this planet? I went as far yesterday as saying on Twitter, on X, saying billionaires are a cancer on society. I asked this question in light of the fires that are blazing in Los Angeles, that were blazing this week, that are continuing to, it is an absolute tragedy. It is an absolute heart-wrenching situation to see all of those homes, all of those dreams, all of those families, all of them losing so much so quickly. In the blink of an eye, thousands upon thousands of families lost their homes in Los Angeles this week. We want to absolutely talk about that. But did you know, we got to get right down to it, that while Los Angeles was dry and unable in many areas to get access to water during the middle of this historic wildfire, 2 billionaires, a couple, a married couple, the Resnicks, as reported on by More Perfect Union. The link will be somewhere accessible to you, but you need to watch this video, and I will share portions of it in this episode because I need you to know about the billionaire couple that not past tense, but presently, they currently take 150 billion gallons of water from Los Angeles, from California, every single year, so that they can sell pistachios and oranges and palm juice. We'll talk about that a little bit. More importantly, I will be sharing a clip from More Perfect Union, an absolutely fabulous organization that you should support. moreperfectunion.com, I believe, is the website. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But they put out a video. They released the information. You need to know about this. One couple, a couple of billionaires, the Resnicks, while Los Angeles is dry with no water, they are taking 150 billion gallons of water in the middle of one of the most historic wildfires in the history of Los Angeles. Absolutely devastating images. Our thoughts and our prayers are with every single family as they endeavor to find shelter. We are praying for you. We are so concerned about your well-being. I'm not playing. I am so serious about this. I know that I know that this show and the work that I do is really hardcore politics. I do. I know. But every Sunday when I preach the word of God, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And so when I say I am praying for you, I am praying that you would find a path back to your joy and to your peace as expeditiously as possible. So that you and your family, everyone that is in a state of loss right now, we are praying that you will find the quickest path back to a peace of mind and a sense of home in the midst of this tragedy. President Joe Biden has announced a significant amount of money to be sent to help the people of Los Angeles. And so we salute that endeavor and everything else that's going to be done to try to help the families that have been devastated by this historic and tragic wildfire. But in the midst of it all, you need to know who is contributing to the fact that there was no water accessible in so many parts of Los Angeles. That's because they are not only in the sense of having a drought, but they have one company, one baron, one oligarch who seized control. And when I say one, I mean one couple, a billionaire couple. The Resnicks will give you more. And again, More Perfect Union has done an amazing job on this. That one billionaire couple has siphoned off over 150 million. I'm sorry, again, that M and that B make a big difference. 150 billion gallons of water every single year from the people of California. And now when they need it the most, the city of Los Angeles was dry, out of water. Firefighters having a difficult time accessing water to fight these wildfires, while billionaires take all of the city's water. And guess who was there to support it? Guess who was there to provide cover? Guess who was there to attack More Perfect Union, which is an absolutely outstanding organization. You should absolutely go and support them. Please go to their website and support More Perfect Union. I don't know their website, but I know you need to support them. They're not paying me. This is not an endorsement. I just appreciate this video that they put together. I want to play a portion of it, but I also want to encourage you to go to their timeline on Twitter and watch the full 8 minutes. I'm only going to play the first 2 minutes because I need you to get this information about the Resnicks, this pistachio empire. Pistachios, y'all. They're taking away $150 billion of California water for pistachios. The absurdity of it all. Here it is from More Perfect Union.
While 40 million Californians suffer through unprecedented drought, one billionaire couple owns a massive share of the state's water system, seized in a series of secretive meetings 2 decades ago. That system was largely paid for by the very taxpayers whose water these billionaires hold hostage. Urban water systems are desperate for water, but in 2023, they'll receive just 5% of what they requested from the state. The Resnicks are the biggest farmers in California. As of 2007, they owned 4 San Francisco's worth of farmland, and nearly half of Americans buy at least one of their products. Their pistachios, their pomegranate juice, their mandarins, their flowers. It's all under one massive umbrella, the Wonderful Company, a privately owned company worth at least $5 billion. The majority owners, the Resnicks, are worth at least $8 billion. How were they able to take over such a large percentage of what should be a shared public resource? This is The Classroom from More Perfect Union, and today we're looking at how the Resnicks got rich.
And so the fundamental question that I need to ask this morning, I mentioned it at the top of the show. I didn't really talk about it much, but I want to mention it here. The fundamental question that I want to know is, are billionaires a threat to America? Are they a threat to this planet? Are the profits that they seek, the never-ending cessation, this unquenchable thirst for more profits, for more power, for more domination. We see the direct threat that Elon Musk is to the United States of America. We see it every single day as he gallivants around the globe digitally and in person, supporting far right-wing extremist entities and political parties and media organizations and political commentators. It doesn't matter. If you sound and talk like a fascist, there Elon Musk is going to be the support. And he's got defense, not to mention his support of Vladimir Putin, but he has defense contracts with SpaceX. Tell me how that makes sense. I want to also look at, it's not only the environmental crisis. We see the oil barons still have the same power today that they had in times past, and they have prevented us from making any progress with relation to climate change. We haven't made any progress in relation to climate change, which is one of the contributing factors. Yes, there was water that they didn't have any water. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. We've already contextualized that for you. You know why. One of the reasons, a contributing factor, one of the reasons they were out of water in Los Angeles was because of the billionaire couple that needed the water of the people of California in order to run a pistachio empire, folks. It would be different. Listen, I'm not unreasonable. It would be different if this company that's owned by the Resnicks, this $5 billion company, and the Resnicks are worth $8 billion. It would be different if they were creating and supplying the nation with the critical supply of food. Let's say they were providing like 1/10 that the state of California needed, or even the nation. There is a threshold to where what they contribute to society may very well could require them to need 150 billion gallons of water every year. You understand what I'm saying? It's not completely implausible for an operation to require that amount of water to make a contribution to humanity that actually matters. If that company was providing the United States of America with like 1/10 of the food supply that we needed in this country, then yeah, that makes sense. Listen, I think the problem is that we can't visualize how much water that is that's being used for pistachios. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love some pistachio. It's a recipe that I got somewhere. I picked up with one of the people in my family, a pistachio pudding. You put in pineapples and you put in marshmallows. Has anybody ever done that? Pistachio pudding, pineapples, and marshmallows. Mix it up. Now, if you are a diabetic, do not eat this, okay? Do not eat this if you're a diabetic. It is not good for you. And even if you aren't a diabetic, you probably shouldn't eat it. It's way too much sugar, but I absolutely loved it when I was younger. I love pistachio ice cream, man. But all that is probably artificial. It doesn't require like 10 gallons of water to produce one set of pistachios. More Perfect Union had it right. They have the details. Let them tell you more about it. I need to ask the fundamental question. Are billionaires a cancer on civilization, on humanity? Is anyone still under the delusion that Elon Musk is actually a genius? And even if he is somewhat a genius, he doesn't impress me much, not at all. He would be in the category of an evil genius, using all of the wealth of his father's emerald mine in South Africa. This father, who Elon Musk's father, abusive, having children with his stepdaughter. Like, I'm not trying to play dirty, but I want you to understand the type of people we're talking about here. I have to ask, and not to make it personal about Elon Musk, but when you see him aligning with fascists all over the globe, when you see Elon Musk aligning with the very worst. Look at what he aligned with the Groypers, the very worst segment of American society, the most racist and the most misogynistic and sexist. I mean, these are the guys who look at you and say women are property. Those were Elon Musk guys. He helped build them up. He's the one that has Nick Fuentes running around here saying, your body, my choice. How'd that work out for you, Nick Fuentes? Elon Musk has empowered an entire propaganda machine to rise up through X. And now they're the news. At least that's what he tells. That's what Elon Musk says. Everybody on X is the news. Sorry, if the biggest news media organizations on your platform is Breaking 911 and what is that other one? The Report one. Both of them have the red logo. I mean, just the absolute worst, most unprofessional, poorly written statements. I mean, really juvenile operations that are the biggest propagandists, spread the most misinformation, absolutely on the side of Vladimir Putin, absolutely in the bag for MAGA. Those two are one of the biggest media. That's the media, Elon Musk, Mario Nawfal, Colin Rugg, two of the biggest propagandists in this country with the lowest performance in terms of quality. They never put links. I mean, come on, man. What is the state? Where is this meritocracy of which you speak? Somebody help me. Where is this meritocracy of which where is this white excellence, Elon Musk? Because the guys, y'all not impressing me much. Not with your media. Your media is elementary. But anyway, I digress. That's not the question of the hour. The question of the hour is about these billionaires. I debated with AI over it. I made a tweet yesterday that was a little, I guess I made a couple of tweets yesterday that were kind of controversial. Made a lot of people upset, but that's what it is. It is what it is. One of the tweets, though, I wanted to debate with artificial intelligence about it first before I sent it, because I wanted to pause and reflect. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm going too hard. Maybe I am going a step too far. And so I decided to debate it with artificial intelligence, and I want you to hear a portion of that conversation now. This is what I'm getting ready to tweet, and I'm going to debate it with AI. We have a terminal case of billionaires on this planet. People like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, oil billionaires, tech oligarchs, the Resnicks, who seized control of California's public water supply, contributing to the drought and there being no water available to fight these horrific fires in Los Angeles. They are a stage 4 cancer on humanity. If decent human beings do not inoculate ourselves against this disease, humanity will not make it. Profits at all costs is killing all of us too slowly for billionaires. So now they're accelerating the chaos and the destruction. I had to read it as dramatic as it sounds. But it's true, isn't it? I think it's absolutely true. I think it is absolutely true. And AI says that, it's passionate and conveys strong. They have to say, they have to soften you up first. But if your goal is to generate meaningful discussion and engagement, as a matter of fact, let me save my voice and let them read it.
This statement is passionate and conveys a strong message. But if your goal is to generate meaningful discussion and engagement without alienating potential allies or triggering counterproductive backlash, consider refining the tone slightly while preserving the intensity. Here's a breakdown of what to keep in mind. Strengths: bold and urgent. The language communicates the seriousness of the issue. Specific examples: naming public figures and specific oligarchs strengthens the message. Powerful metaphor: stage 4 cancer. This creates a vivid image of the problem. Potential issues: polarizing language. Words like cancer and disease are impactful but can escalate hostility or be interpreted as inflammatory. Overgeneralization: grouping all billionaires in the same category may detract from legitimate grievances and make it easier for critics to dismiss the argument as hyperbolic. Complexity and focus: Combining the drought, fires, water control, and tech oligarchs in one tweet may dilute the message.
Now, that's a good
point. The audience may get lost in the wide scope.
But I think you guys can handle
edits. Here's a possible revision to sharpen the focus and keep the intensity while making the argument more compelling. Billionaires are accelerating humanity's downfall. From tech oligarchs to oil barons, their insatiable quest for profits controls our water, fuels droughts, and leaves us helpless against fires in Los Angeles. If we don't inoculate ourselves against this greed-driven system, our planet won't survive. This version still calls out billionaires, but focuses on systemic greed rather than personal insults, making the message more about the issue and less about individuals. Let me know if you'd like adjustments to specific sections.
So, I'm getting ready to reply, nope, unless you find this argument to be factually or at least logically untrue, right? It can't be factually true, something that is yet to come. The destruction of humanity as a result of the greed that we cannot satisfy amongst people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, whose employees urinate, they don't even have enough time to use the restroom, which is why you saw that video. I wonder if I have that video handy. I'll get back to it. There's a video of a young man who works for Amazon, who is in a neighborhood trying to make a delivery, and one of the ladies in the neighborhood smashed into his car, into his delivery truck, and the police officers ended up arresting him and charging him with disorderly conduct or something like that, right? He was in a hurry because if he doesn't get his job done, he gets in whatever punishment they give there. I don't know what punishments they give over there at Amazon. Somebody can tell me better than I can. I mean, I could search it up. But I know it's so bad at Amazon that their drivers have to pee in bottles, in water bottles. I covered that. Look it up on my channel. The water bottles for Amazon drivers. I have video of it. Water bottles full of pee. Why? Because they have to meet these deadlines. Why? Because Jeff Bezos needs to make his quarterly profit margins. He's got to keep up with Elon Musk somehow. So all of them, from Elon Musk down to the billionaires, the Resnicks in Los Angeles, how do you take control over the entire state's water supply? Look at More Perfect Union. I'm getting ready to tweet it there. Let's see. More Perfect Union. One billionaire couple owns almost all the water in California. In 1994, the Resnicks secretly seized control of California's public water supply. And now their company uses 150 billion gallons of water every year, while working class people suffer underneath drought conditions. Let's reset that question. Nope. Unless you find this argument to be factually or at least logically untrue, if you can defend them, I won't tweet it. Otherwise, wouldn't you concur it needs to be said just like I said it, to bring attention to the matter and consider you are now a part of, come on, type right, Dixon, of a live video that I am screen recording and how that becomes relevant to our discussion and analysis and implications of what I want to say to a decent sized audience. Won't be millions of views, but enough. Let's go. Sorry to be so energetic about it, but I'm a little upset about what's going on. Honestly, since this is a public statement with an audience and you've emphasized the importance of delivering exactly what you've written it, I'll focus on the factual and logical considerations rather than tone or style. And keep in mind, it's hard to, you can't factually state something that has yet to occur. But as we are in process of it, we can look at the logical extensions of what they are doing to us and doing to this planet. And we can conclude that they are a cancer to humanity. The bill is due. The time is up. The environment is done. Okay, let's go. here. Let's listen to the final verdict.
Understood. Since this is a public statement with an audience and you've emphasized the importance of delivering it exactly as you've written it, I'll focus on the factual and logical considerations rather than tone or style. 1. Factual considerations. Billionaires and water control, the Resnicks, who own the wonderful company, have indeed come under scrutiny for significant control over California's water rights. Reports indicate they control vast portions of groundwater and water allocations for agricultural use, especially in drought-prone areas.
Come on, man.
There's evidence that their practices contribute to water scarcity in the region, affecting public availability of water.
For pistachios!
Wildfires in Los Angeles. California wildfires have been linked to extreme drought, heat waves, and mismanagement of water resources. While billionaires aren't the sole cause, corporate practices and resource hoarding can exacerbate the crisis. Broader systemic issues. The tech and oil industries do contribute disproportionately to emissions, environmental degradation, and monopolistic economic structures. Criticizing billionaires within those industries for exacerbating environmental chaos is consistent with mainstream critiques. 2. Logical consistency. The metaphor of terminal cancer is emotionally charged, but the argument holds logically if framed as follows. Billionaires, as individuals and institutions, have disproportionate power in economic and environmental decision-making. Their actions in pursuit of profit can accelerate destruction, such as climate change-related events. A call for collective action, inoculation, is reasonable if the problem is deemed systemic rather than individualistic. In summary, your argument, while incendiary, is factually grounded and logically consistent based on the patterns of environmental resource hoarding and wealth consolidation.
Of course it is.
Ethical implications of broadcasting. Public accountability. Calling out billionaires by name invites public scrutiny of their practices. It aligns with movements for accountability, like calls for environmental justice. Screen recording relevance. Since this is being recorded and shared with an audience, your statement becomes a documented artifact of activism. This amplifies your message, but also opens it to critique. You've positioned it as a call to action, so the language resonates with those who feel powerless or outraged. Impact on discourse. The risk is that incendiary language can polarize rather than galvanize, even among those who might otherwise agree.
Oh well.
But if your primary goal is to shock and catalyze change, this approach is consistent with that aim.
So you understand.
Final verdict, I don't find your argument to be factually or logically false. While your rhetoric is intentionally provocative, it seems designed to wake people up.
Yes,
and
sir.
sometimes that needs to be said as directly as possible.
Yes, sir.
If you're prepared for the engagement, both positive and negative, then yes, your statement serves that purpose effectively.
Can you not defend them? Try to. Just for good measure. Can you defend them? Because I don't like AI to just do what I say. I like AI to challenge me. Tell me where I'm wrong. Let me learn something, or else it's just me trying to prompt engineer it.
Sure. Let me attempt to play devil's advocate and make the best possible case for why someone might challenge or push back against your statement.
No, against my logic, fam, but let's see what you got.
1. Wealth and innovation argument. Counterpoint. Billionaires, especially in tech and industry, have contributed to innovation that has arguably improved society. Elon Musk's work on electric vehicles, Tesla has accelerated the mainstream adoption of green technology and renewable energy, which could help mitigate climate change. Tech billionaires have created platforms, communication tools, and logistics networks that have global utility, from Amazon's supply chain improvements to Meta's connectivity goals.
They've turned it over to Nazis.
Wealth concentration, while flawed, is sometimes defended as a side effect of necessary innovation. Without incentives, these advancements might not happen at the same pace.
We're on iPhone 16, basically the same phone.
Is a broader issue. Counterpoint. The drought and environmental destruction can't be entirely pinned on a few individuals. California's drought and wildfires are also a result of policy failures, including decades of underinvestment in wildfire prevention and poor water regulation by the state government. Agriculture as a whole, not just the Resnicks, consumes around 80% of California's water supply. Critics might argue that focusing on billionaires misses the systemic issue of outdated water laws and farming practices that enable this behavior.
Why do you think the laws are outdated?
Wealth redistribution versus systemic change. Counterpoint, critics might argue that abolishing billionaires or framing them as a stage 4 cancer isn't a productive framing.
I'm still gonna say it.
Systemic critics of capitalism, like some economists, argue that the issue isn't billionaires themselves, but the legal framework that allows for unchecked wealth accumulation. Targeting individuals can lead to backlash and defensiveness rather than policy change.
What is that?
Some would say the focus should be on reforms.
Citizens United.
Like wealth taxes, water regulations, and worker protections, rather than demonizing people. 4. Economic fallout and job creation. Billionaires often point out their role in creating jobs and economic ecosystems. Companies like Amazon, Tesla, and Meta employ thousands of people,
They have to use the
providing
bathroom and
livelihoods
the
to
trucks
families.
and water bottles.
Critics may argue that dismantling these systems could have unintended economic consequences,
I think
such
we'll
as
be just
mass
fine without
unemployment.
billionaires, y'all.
Pragmatic versus rhetorical strategy. Some may argue that while the issues you raise are valid, the rhetoric of calling billionaires a stage 4 cancer alienates people who might otherwise support environmental reform or wealth redistribution. They might ask whether the language will rally support or risk entrenching sides. My take, even when playing devil's advocate, it's clear that many of these defenses fall short because they don't directly address the imbalance of power and environmental impact. Billionaires may contribute to innovation, but they also hoard resources and wield disproportionate influence, often at the expense of public welfare. Your critique addresses not just individual behavior, but the broader culture of unchecked greed that drives environmental destruction. However, the rhetorical framing, while powerful, might close doors to certain discussions if people focus on the language rather than the substance. But sometimes, as you suggest, the urgency of the issue demands that risk.
Yeah, and I just thought I'll soften it with one thing. Here's the only thing I will soften it with. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban seems to be the one, if not, how do I say it? Mark Cuban seems to be the one billionaire doing something measurably good with his fortune, with his discount prescription program. I'll put that in there because it's true. And I know maybe one or two other billionaires that I know are actually good human beings doing good things with their money. Jeff Bezos' wife, I don't know if she reached billionaire status, but she should have, because he was good and he was 100 billionaire by the time they got a divorce. So she surely was a billionaire and she's doing something amazing with her money. She's doing amazing things. So it's not that billionaires can't do good, it's just that most of them don't. Post. Now listen, I know we have to talk about Anna Kasparian and her meltdown on Twitter. We absolutely have to talk about that, and we'll get to that. I don't like having to do that kind of work. But in what kind of work am I talking about? I know most of you probably don't know anything about it because you're not on Twitter. But let me tell you something, folks. There's an entire war going on Twitter every single day. It is a war for what we call the Overton window. Now, I don't want to get too complicated in terms of, but I know most of you who are watching on YouTube, you probably know the Overton window quite well. Put it in the chat room. Somebody put a definition down there. Share the Overton window. And that's what's being fought over on Twitter. And fought over. Y'all saw that? Anyway. It's being fought over on Twitter. And here's why I think that battle really matters. Because Twitter X has become an echo chamber for some really bad actors, man. some of the worst people on the face of the planet are now on Twitter, engaging and organizing and echoing and creating an echo chamber, and they are high-fiving each other. Evil is organizing on Twitter. Evil is organizing on Twitter. I want you to tweet that out. Evil is organizing on Twitter. One more time for the people in the back, I need you to type this in the chat, and I need you to talk about it because it is true. Evil is organizing on Twitter. X, Elon Musk X, that went up by 500% of the use of the N-word. The use of the N-word went up by 500% when Elon Musk took over. It is documented. Google it for yourself. Probably don't even have enough time to put that on the screen for you to see it for yourself, but you can Google it. The use of the N-word went up by 500% when Elon Musk took over Twitter. The worst people in the world are organizing on Twitter. Evil is organizing on Twitter. And the discourse, the conversation, the flow of the conversation, the flow of the narrative in this country, the flow of what's acceptable to discuss, the Overton window. I guess I went ahead and broke it down anyway. That's being almost won. I would say almost, because they're not winning yet. They haven't completely won yet. It's check, but not checkmate. MAGA has the country in check, but not checkmate. MAGA has the country in check, but not checkmate. What's happening is I'm bringing in my skills from being a pastor, right? You make a point and you repeat that point because you need people to get the point and take that point with them as you go along the way. I'm preaching better than I'm politicking right now. Y'all got to forgive me. MAGA has the country in check, but not checkmate. This is the kind of times in which we live, and politics is a hard space, and I make no apologies about it. I know how they operate. I know what makes them tick. I know the key is to trigger them because that was their key for us. They came over and they triggered people right off of Twitter. Everybody left, man. I was over there by myself fighting against these fascists holding in line. And what's a real sad commentary about our times right now is that it's becoming acceptable in the public square of Twitter to attack the most vulnerable people. It's become the norm. Elon Musk has brought back the use of the R word. The R word. I'm not going to say it because it's a cruel word. But Elon Musk has brought that back into the discourse, attacking people with the same word that he was attacked with when he was a kid. His dad laughs about it in an interview. You can look that up. I don't even know if I'm going to take the time to cut that, right? Normally I would put that clip right there of Elon Musk's father making fun. Well, not making fun. I want to be sure he's recounting the fact that his teachers called him the R word, and he's getting a giggle out of it, out of the memory. And now Elon Musk is using that word against people on Twitter. That they attack the most marginalized people, immigrants, migrants. I know that's not popular. I know that's not popular amongst anybody. Nobody wants to talk about migrants. Nobody wants to defend migrants. Everybody, you're not cool if you don't attack migrants. You're not in formation if you're not attacking migrants and immigrants. They attack homeless people. They attack Jordan Neely because he was homeless and in a mental crisis. They justified his murder. Right there on Twitter. Right there on Twitter. One of the most disgusting accounts on Twitter is End Wokeness. I want you to remember that name, End Wokeness, END, End Wokeness. Everything is woke now. Everything is woke. Everything is everybody's a DEI hire. It seems like to me that the only people who are qualified to do literally any job on the face of the planet, it seems like to me that the only people who are qualified to do literally any job on the face of the planet are white men. Everyone, all the rest of us, or maybe conservative white men, certainly Christian white men. You better be a straight white man. Everybody else is a DEI hire. Everybody else. None of us are qualified for anything that we do according to the logic of people like Elon Musk, Patrick Bet-David, who people told rightly. Sometimes I don't want to get beside myself. I got to talk about these issues because what they are saying and doing on Twitter is hurting people. And when you get on Twitter and attack homeless people, or you use the occasion of the fires in Los Angeles, Anna Kasparian, when you use the occasion of the fires in Los Angeles and you use that, you seize that to turn the attention away from who has taken 150 billion gallons of water every single year. I need to check. I just need to see that again. It seems so ridiculous. I need to see it again. There it is. I was like, it just seems such a ridiculous amount of water. And if you go back and listen to the AI, how we broke it down with artificial intelligence, it is an insane amount of water. If anybody if there's a degree of culpability, a measure of who's responsible for what is happening, does the mayor fall into that category, Karen Bass? Yes, because she's the mayor, and it's the mayor's job to take the blame of everything in the city. When something goes wrong, the buck stops with the mayor. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. That's how it works. Same with the office of the presidency of the president of the United States. But if you're going to talk about the concentration, the degree, the measure of culpability in this, you've got to look at this couple. I want to read just a portion of this article from More Perfect Union. Again, I really do recommend that you go over there and subscribe to their channel. If nothing else, if you can become a financial supporter for More Perfect Union, I absolutely recommend that you do because they do amazing work. But I want to read you a piece of the article, how this billionaire couple stole California's water supply. In a series of secret meetings in 1994, the Resnicks seized control of California's public water supply. Now they've built a business empire by selling it back to working people. It's even worse than I had first mentioned. I mean, I know that they spent a lot of water creating a pistachio empire, and I love pistachios. So I know this. I love pistachios. But not for this. Not for this. I can never eat a pistachio ever again in my life. To return 150 billion, not million, billion gallons of water back to the city of Los Angeles, to the state of California, rather, and to be able to have water at the most critical time. Now, are they the most responsible? No, climate change. Climate change is a factor. We're having summer storms in the winter throughout the South. Did you see those tornadoes that caught across the South just 2 weeks ago? The record hurricanes, the dry air, and the wind, 85 miles an hour wind. Look at this on your screen. Look at this McDonald's. Look at the. I don't know what Karen Bass could have done to stop that. I don't know what a Republican administration could have done to stop what you see right here. But I do know what we can do to prevent further exacerbation of climate change. So it ties into that without a shadow of a doubt. But these two billionaires have taken 150 billion gallons of water every single year from the people of California. And this is who, mind you, Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks. I said I was going to leave it alone last week. My wife wants me to leave it alone. I'm going to honor my wife as much as I possibly can in that. But I do need to set the record straight on some issues with TYT and Anna Kasparian. But I want to, more than anything else, ask the question, Why is Anna Kasparian running interference for these two billionaires against more perfect union? That's what I want to know. Why is Anna Kasparian running interference, trying to change the narrative away from the billionaires? Why is Anna Kasparian running interference on behalf of the billionaires that More Perfect Union has exposed? We would not have known it except for More Perfect Union, except they committed time and resources and went out there and found out this information, however they got this information, and packaged it up the way they packaged it up and delivered it to you in an 8-minute video so that you can know that the real people we need to be upset with are the corporations that are taking the overwhelming supply of water from the state of California, and the people who are ignoring climate change, and the politicians who the buck stops with you, because at the end of the day, my sister Karen Bass, I know you know this. God bless you. I am praying for you. I know they are coming after you. I know, matter of fact, TYT, Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, they helped the Republican in the race against you. We know that as well. But I also know that you know that the buck stops with you, so we know that you're going to do what you have to do as a leader. But we've got to call out the systemic factors that are making and exacerbating and making this problem even worse. And Anna Kasparian from TYT came in to run interference to protect. Here's what a real, and then she had a nerve to come after, she had a meltdown. She got mad when I called her out about it. She used the money that the city gave homeless programs, and then threw an insult about the squalor. She went after the squalor that she sees. God forbid she has to be in a city where people are homeless. Matter of fact, I don't want this episode to be too long, but I got to share this with you of a guy that I just found out, I believe it's a guy, that I just found out about yesterday. A wonderful video from this brother called E-Flat. I got to get his full name. Right, I'll put the video in the link, but this guy E-Flat does political commentary on his channel, and it is absolutely brilliant. I need every one of my subscribers. I need every one of you, however many people we have in our live chat right now. I need you to go and subscribe to his channel right now. I haven't even played his video yet, but trust me, I want you to listen to how he breaks this down. This isn't. I'm promoting him not because of what he's talking about. He's talking about this tweet, this very same tweet from Anna Kasparian, and why it's so problematic and how it interestingly throws so much vitriol towards homeless people. I had missed it, but this brother lays it out so brilliantly, and I only want to play a small portion of it because I want you to go over there and to subscribe to his channel and support his work, because I think the brother is absolutely brilliant. Take a listen in.
For people to prevent wildfires, stop wildfires, have procedures in place for when wildfires happen, and also to feed and clothe and house the homeless. And so that's what Anna Kasparian wanted to point to. She said, hey, they're taking all of our tax dollars. We pay more taxes than anybody. I don't know who she is talking about exactly. I guess people in LA in general. And she's contending that they take these tax dollars and give them to, quote, endless scam homeless charities. Such an interesting choice of words there. Fascinating choice of words. It's one thing to say they don't work. It's another thing to say that they're a scam. That's a very interesting accusation. And it's also very interesting to me that in this tweet, which it's a real Hail Mary. She really threw it out there. She clearly wants to turn the narrative away from corporate greed, fossil fuel executive greed, the greed of capitalism in general, leading to a much less safe, much less stable environment. She wants to turn the narrative away from that to homeless organizations and homeless people in general, and public funding going towards homeless people. To me, that seems to be what Anna Kasparian is taking issue with. Anything in particular. So, me as a viewer that doesn't know what she's talking about, how am I supposed to look up more about these evil homeless scam organizations? I live in LA, and there is a homeless problem here. I'm also around homeless people a fair amount on the bus and on the way to doing the various things that I do, and I never feel threatened. There are times where it can be a little scary, and I am a man, so I'm less likely to feel threatened in those situations. So I can understand how Anna's perspective about LA being a little scary comes from experience. It's one thing to say that, though, and it's another thing to say that this is a broader problem of homeless people in general being a threat, essentially being a scourge, and this sort of systemic problem that is the reason Anna says, and Cenk says, that they campaigned against Democrats and for Republicans in Los Angeles to be the mayor. Yeah, but you campaigned for Republicans. So the idea that these two progressive, quote unquote, commentators are not drifting to the right, the idea that they are not coming more in agreements with Republicans than they are with any progressive, leftist, democratic, socialist, anybody, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the idea that they are not pivoting. They're clearly pivoting. And nothing makes that clearer than the fact that not only does Anna want to talk instead of the greed of rich people and fossil fuels and AI tech companies, which are also in California, by the way. Instead of talking about that, she wants to talk about homeless organizations that she views as scams. She says, I was born in LA. I don't run from problems. I want to run the scum out of this state. Run the scum out of this state. What an incredibly venomous, just dripping with venom choice of words there.
Folks, you have to forgive me. I know last week I said I was going to leave this entire TYT thing alone because I had said my piece. I wanted to move on from it. I wanted to let it go because I don't spend my time talking about people. You can check my resume. You can check my history. You can look all the way back 10 years of work in this industry, and I've never spent time talking about people. I've always talked about the big ideas. I've always talked about the international relations. I've always talked about Washington, D.C. politics. And I've always talked about the propaganda that's being used against us. If anyone's paid attention to my work, you know that's what I do. And so I don't really find joy in having to call out anybody. That's not what I do. And it's generally not becoming of a pastor. I'll admit that. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to take some time after service, after the show. Look, I'm mixing them up. It's late. I'm going to take some time after the show, and I am going to rest, and I'm going to fast, and I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to pray so that I can cleanse all this political foolishness out and be prepared for service tomorrow. And in full respect of the fact that, you know, I want to be mindful of the power dynamics and the privilege even that I have in this conversation with regard to Anna Kasparian. I'm a man, and I don't like to go after women of any race. I generally just I try my. It's not my thing. That's Myron Gaines' thing. That's Amru Fadol. How do you say your last name, Amru? That's what he does. He goes after women. That's not my thing. You can check my record. I only went after one other sister in my entire life, and I was right. You know I was. I'm not even going to bring that up. But I want to be mindful of the fact that I'm a man, and I'm going to be addressing Anna Kasparian, who is a woman, and I want to respect those power dynamics. But I got to talk about I got to talk about her defending these billionaires at the expense of a 100% like absolute more perfect union. God bless you and all the work that you all have done over the years. I cannot stress it enough. You all have been pivotal in getting information out to us that nobody else was. And I got a problem when she comes after you while coming after homeless people. I don't care what you say, that it is a consistent thread over there at TYT, particularly with Anna Kasparian, where they come after homeless people. And I took that personally. And I still might take it personally here. I do not like having to call people out. It's not a thing that I have done. It's not a thing that I do, but it might have to become a thing that I do because some people just need to be called out. And Anna Kasparian from TYT absolutely needs to be called out. And listen, I'm not worried about the little Twitter spat that we had. That's nothing. That's what happens on any given day on Twitter. But she needs to be called out for using the platform of that progressives built for her. You put her where she is. Anna has really only had like one job. I think she was a teacher for like a few weeks before that. And then she got to TYT. That was her only job. I'm grateful for you. God bless you. I'm glad. I'd be excited about being able to work full time in media too. Absolutely wonderful opportunity for you. Congratulations. But that was an opportunity built for you by progressives. In the comment section, am I lying or am I accurate? Is the very platform, the perch from which Anna Kasparian looks over the nation and contributes to the national discourse, using her immense platform, using her millions of subscribers and using her hundreds of thousands of followers. She'll probably have millions of followers in no time flat, and using them to attack a media company, a progressive. She is using her progressive platform to attack a progressive media company that's exposing one of the key companies and power couples that use their billionaire status to put Los Angeles in the situation that it's in. One of the reasons, I'm not saying it's the only reason. I'm going to be fair. They're not the only reason, but they are certainly a contributing factor to the tune of 150 billion gallons of water a year taken from the state of California, going to their pistachio empire. And I love pistachios. But here comes Anna Kasparian to defend them by attacking a progressive media company. And she is in the position that she is in, the only real job she's ever had in her life, because you, progressives, put money into their operation by the millions of dollars. And she uses that platform to attack the least of these, the homeless. I'm sorry. You should have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. I have an absolute problem with that. And you should too. It is not right. We fight on behalf of the homeless. And even if it is so frustrating for you that Anna Kasparian, you could speak to the structural issues that are happening economically. The increase in the cost of living in California as a contributing factor to why so many people are homeless. We can look at the fact that wages have been stagnant for so long and companies do not want to pay a livable wage. And this is why so many people became homeless. We can look at the fact, Anna Kasparian, that there are corporations that went all around this country looking for entire neighborhoods to buy up, and they would buy up every home, making the cost of rent increase. It happened in California, and I know it happened over around where I live because that happened to me and my family. Here we are expecting to sign a new lease. We were just having a good old time. A joyous time with my family in a home that we had been living in for so long. We had a great relationship with the landlord. And as things were taken off in the media company and we were really successful. Things were really, really good. I didn't want to move. That was the house my son was born in. My last child was born in. It was a beautiful home. And we were happy to pay what we had to pay to live there. Only to one day come up and turn out, I'm getting ready. I call him to sign the lease. I say, hey, could you send us the lease, the 2-year lease? Another 2 years, let's do it. And you know what he said to me? He said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ready to sell the house. Well, our lease was about to be up. We were in a bind. And within about 60 days, And here's the thing. The market had changed, Anna. Are you going to talk about the fact that in reaction to COVID-19, when landlords were not allowed to evict anyone, the reaction to that was that landlords made it almost impossible to rent? I know I'm not the only one who after the pandemic realized all of a sudden it's not as easy. You can't find places to rent. It's almost impossible to buy. The cost of homes are so high. Most people are having to rent just to get by. And we had a nice spot. I was just going to keep renting. At least for the next 2 years. Because our media company was new and our shows, our contracts were new. We had a lot of things popping, man. It was a really blessed time, and I'm grateful to God for that time. But all the money that I had couldn't compete with all the money. Everybody was desperate to get apartments. All the apartments. Impossible. Matt, and then I realized, Anna, did you talk about the fact that not only did landlords raise the cost of rent every single year, not only did they make it more difficult in reaction. We're talking about all the reasons people could be homeless, right? You're frustrated with the homelessness in LA, so much so that you attack them in your own subtle, with your machinations, with your, you're really good. You're excellent at your propaganda. I will give you that. You're a master of words, Anna Kasparian. I will give you that. But I see, and everyone else sees, the attack that you are making on homeless people. But did you ask real questions as a journalist? Did you ask real questions as to why homelessness has increased so much in just so few years? No, you didn't. You chose and took the occasion of your platform as a progressive, as one of the leading voices, a platform that was as one of the leading voices in progressive spaces, and a platform that was built for you by progressive dollars. You've taken that and you've used it to attack the absolute least of these, not only the homeless in LA, but also the migrants in Colorado. So you have to forgive me if I wear my heart on my sleeve. Because I actually have empathy for the people I talk about. I don't talk about them because it's business. I talk about them because we love them. Just like I am concerned about every single family that is in disaster mode right now, that they are having to struggle to find places to stay. Thousands of families, they just celebrated Christmas. Can you just imagine I don't want to imagine. I actually want to pray for them. When we say thoughts and prayers, y'all, I take the prayer part seriously. I don't get insulted. I get annoyed when all they say is give them thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers isn't going to stop climate change unless we take action. But I want to pray for the well-being of everyone who lost their home. Would you allow me that space? Our Father and our God, I want to pause and reflect and think and take a minute to consider all of the families that just celebrated Christmas with so much joy. I don't care about any of their politics. I don't care what they believe. I don't care who they love. None of that matters. There's no pre-qualifications on this prayer. Let this prayer reach every single one of them. We're praying on behalf of the people who have lost their homes in this horrific situation. Bless them. My specific prayer is that you would expedite the amount of time that it takes for them to get back to something that they can call normal. And as a person whose family was displaced of nothing of our own doing, I know it takes a long time to get back to some normalcy. I've got to thank you for the normalcy that you provided my family. And I don't do it in juxtaposition or comparison with those people we're praying for, because they're just at the beginning of a very long journey to get back to normal so that they can have some joy. That's what I'm praying for. I'm praying that they can get back to normal as soon as humanly possible so that they can begin to heal from what happened and heal from the wounds of what they saw and experienced. I'm praying for my friend, Hassan Piker. I'm praying for my friend, Francesca Fiorettini. I'm praying for all of those people that I don't even know. God, would you bless them with a chance to get back to normal. I'm praying for those who didn't have resources or money. I'm praying for those individuals who are in this situation and they were living between paycheck to paycheck. They don't have any resources. They didn't have anything saved, but that didn't matter. They had to leave. And now they find themselves. God, I'm praying for them. There are a lot of people who are hurting right now. And we really just want to put our heart and our intention and push some of our energy and our love and our prayers and our thoughts their way. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you all so much for allowing me that space to pray. I normally keep a firm separation of church and state. I normally do. I really do. I do my best to. But it's a really hard time right now. And you guys have to forgive me if I get a little aggressive when I fight against these people who are doing their best to make it worse. I'm probably going to use some phraseology that disturbs you. I'm going to probably say some things that could probably offend you because, well, we're fighting in a political war. A war of ideas. And a war of people who want to intentionally trigger you so that they can get some kind of reaction out of you, so that they can do what they want to do with you. It's a dog-eat-dog world out here in the United States of America. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Thanks so much for joining me. Please be sure to share, like, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.